what's making you optimistic today?
Ihoa, August Mordin Margaherin. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak today. Gormila Mahakat. I have many reasons to be optimistic in my day-to-day life. Having just recently moved to Australia, I have a new role, a new team, and that presents me with so many exciting opportunities to try new things, meet new people, work on new projects. And being here in Australia gives me the chance to explore this enormous country with every kind of climatic region you can list except polar, and see the wider region as well as travel restrictions become less of a barrier. Just this weekend, I was in Sydney for the first time, got to see my first koala on a brilliantly sunny day overlooking the harbour, and it was fantastic. And this was only possible because the vaccine rollout has been so recently successful here in Australia, which is a real reason to be optimistic. More than 95% of Canberrans where I am are double vaccinated, slightly beating the figures we have back home in Ireland at 90%. New South Wales on par, but across Australia we've passed 80%. And that means that international travel can start once again, and that's another cause for optimism, as families can be reunited, many of whom won't have seen each other for years because very few got on a plane on the 20th of March. They might have picked one Christmas to be at home and missed their chance. Personally, Christmas will be an odd time for me without the dark and wintry coziness I'm accustomed to in my corner of the Atlantic, but I'm optimistic that my first stab at pavlova will impress my in-laws. And we also saw the first commercial flight today between Australia and Fiji. For those of you that don't know, my embassy also covers Fiji and other countries in Melanesia, and the Pacific has been really economically hit by the pandemic, relying on tourism for their economy as much as they do. So I'm really, really happy to see this strong step towards recovery. Now, it might seem a little gauche to be talking about long-haul air travel during an international climate summit, but there is still cause for optimism. Aer Lingus and its parent group, which includes British Airways and Iberia, has just signed a deal to purchase sustainable aviation fuel as its brand. And this
your voice
is blended with fuel that's been synthesized from waste vegetable matter, which lowers the carbon emissions of flying. And given that there is no way for people to travel outside of Australia without flying, it's good to be working towards lowering the impact of air travel. Then, keeping with the Glasgow summit, there is more cause even to be optimistic with this morning's joint declaration from the US and China. And that's instilled a new optimism amongst the negotiators that we can reach a meaningful outcome for the conference. And more widely, that shows that no matter how poorly the relationships across the Pacific have been reported to be, it shows that these two nations have been able to work together for months on this powerful statement, whilst growling at each other on other issues. But we can't forget that, as Greta Thunberg said, it's not just words. I think her actual words were blah, blah, but practical impacts. And on a smaller scale, I saw this morning that a forest in County Galway, just walking distance actually from Galway city centre, has reached its 20th anniversary. The first tree was planted 20 years ago, inspired by the first Conference of Parties, the UN Climate Summit in '95. They worked on getting planning permission and planted their first tree in 2001. And now it's 170 acres of mature and semi-mature trees, which is just really, really fantastic. Wow. And it's a haven for biodiversity. And got one more thing is that the Socceroos are hosting their first international game in over a year against Saudi Arabia in a World Cup qualifier. Only 6 months ago, Australia had to compete in the Eurovision Song Contest by video link. And so here we are on the cusp of summer, looking at what optimistically we can hope to be a return to a happy and sociable way of life.
Wow. Okay. I don't generally judge these responses, but that's just amazing. I mean, there's dozens of things to be optimistic about. And you reminded me of so many things over here and at home and around the world. So thank you, Daniel. That's amazing. That's super duper optimistic. Thank you. Thank you for that.